Friday morning webinar. We're here each and every week to help you grow your business. Appreciate everybody joining us today. A little sneak peek of what we got coming up today. Of course, we got Todd here to give us a look at the numbers. Mick Bernard's going to stop by to give us the Bookspan Baker team's mortgage minute. Kind of interested in seeing what's going on with rates. I'm going to discuss 5 systems that are keeping you back from doubling your business. And of course, don't do that with Bob. Bob will stop by and help us stay out of trouble. As always, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, actually, if you got concerns, keep them to yourself. If you got questions, comments, or suggestions of some guests that you would like to hear, please feel free to email us at webinar@westusa.com. With that being said, Todd, I'm just going to turn it over to you and see what's going on in the market.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. We have our Monday, August 26th for the last 7 days report. We're sitting at 59 days closed on market this past week. Our month supply averaged 1.72 months. Our absorption rate is at 58.25. Average list prices are hovering right about 555, pretty steady in that range. The average list price, sale price at 349. Here's the unique thing, list price to sale price retention at 102%. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Looking at inventory, we continue to decline, down 1.4%. We're now sitting at about 13,664 properties available on market. Pending is up to 5,367. The market's heating up just a little bit, about 2%. And our closed units month to date are sitting at about 5,600, 5,650. Our new listings, we took 1,887 new listings this past week. That is significantly low. Again, we like to see that about 2,400. Our active days on market for the entire MLS is 168 days. However, those that are closed only took 59 days. Our price range, statistics, under 500,000. Pardon me, under 500,000.
A little hairball there.
Yeah, cough that one up. Under 500,000 is sitting right about 71% of our inventory. Our 500 to $1 million is just under 20, and above $1 million is sitting at just under 10%. So taking a good look at our comparison, last week we were at 1885. This week we're at 1887 for new listings. Don't look at that positive number and the green tag or green ticker as a good thing. This isn't going to be a good thing until we're sitting over 2,400. Taking a look at inventory, we've been on continuous slide. Last year we were at 17,800 listings. So just to give you a little idea of the difference between then and now, so we're running about 4,000 listings short. You know, Mike, I was looking back at some of our statistics, and back in 2008 we had 54,000 properties as an active inventory. You know, now we're trying to get by with 13,600. Pending, again, is, you know, we like to see this somewhere, you know, above 5,500. We have seen it as high as in the 6,000-7,000 range. A year ago, we were at 7,000-8,000. So again, there's fewer people in the marketplace, but the people that are in the marketplace are actually purchasing and closing. That's a good thing. Looking at last year, we're up 10% as far as closed inventory month to date. We're at 5,649. Last year, we were at 5,100. And realistically, we've been talking about this pretty much from April on this year. We've finally been out of the negative numbers. So for over, you know, many years, we've, you know, well, at least 4 years, we've been in a continual decline of somewhere between 8 to 11%. So this is a good sign for us from that perspective. We're sitting at 1.72 months supply. That's down from 2.84 last week. So this past week we were sitting in, you know, a little better condition, a little fewer properties sold. We're at 58.25% as far as our absorption rate is concerned. Average list prices, like we talked about, continue to hover about 550. We ended last month at 571, just to give you an example. We ended June at 570, almost 571 as well. So when you look at these different things, you know, it's very easy to use these sheets to show the consumer, you know, show your sellers, show your buyers that, you know, we're not in a bubble. And I know we talk about this regularly, but the news reports don't seem to help us out in this regard. You know, the prices are going up. They are. You know, the sellers, the big secret is the sellers just aren't giving up as much. If we take a look at our pardon me, our list price to sale price retention. This is the price at which at the time that the seller accepted an offer on the property and the property went into pending. What was the list price at that time? Not the original list price, but just the list price at that time. And right now, the sellers are averaging 102. 97.8% is normal. When we go above that, that just means the sellers are sticking to their list prices. Well, what happens when it goes over 100 and it's 102? It means people are becoming a little more competitive. More than likely, when there's a property out there that everybody really likes, people aren't asking for as much because they're also understanding that, if they don't put in a good offer, they're not going to get that house.
Well, it means agents are doing a lot better job at educating their buyers.
It would definitely mean that. So again, 97.8% is normal. We're at 102. Expect it to be a very competitive market this next week. And hopefully this will come back down to the 97-98% range. But those are the numbers, and we have a number of different ways in which you can find us on for the Monday's market stats. And you can find us on Alexa. If you go into your flash briefings and you look for a service called West USA Realty Market Analysis, and you click on that, then this will be brought right into your Alexa flash briefings. And also your YouTube, if you'd like to see it with the PowerPoints, supporting PowerPoints, please go to our West USA Realty YouTube page, and we'd be happy to show you that. So,
all right, perfect.
Hold on, I'm going to jump in really quick.
This is our producer, Nick.
We also have podcasts now on iTunes and Spotify, as well as Google Play.
Okay.
So any of those devices, if you have iTunes, just go to the podcast app, search for West USA Realty. If you're on Spotify, click on podcast, type in West USA Realty. And then if you have an Android phone for some reason, you go to the Google Play Store and,
of course you do.
And search for you podcast there, West USA Realty, and you can hear everything we do in the webinar, as well as a lot more content is going to be pushed out on those podcasting forums.
Excellent.
All right, appreciate it, Nick. All right, so moving right along, we're just going to go ahead and pretend that we're Mick.
Okay.
All right, so let's do it.
Rates fell to 1.1%.
Okay, so let's do a little market update. The Bookspan Baker team is giving away money.
Yeah, well, not too much at 4.125. That's everything pretty much being above 4. Isn't that similar to last week?
Yeah, pretty much.
And Jumbo was.
Oh, here he comes. All right, because we just started doing your numbers, Mick.
We told you that if they put a offer in, an application in with Bookspan Baker, you do it for 1.1.
You got it.
Yeah, you guys help cover the buy down.
I did it on Saturday for one of you guys' buyers, so we're good. So as you can see, rates crept up a tiny bit, but we're still good. We're trading in a trading range, up and down, up an eighth, down an eighth, but we're still probably 18-month low, so doing pretty good shape here still. Today we want to talk about drinking coffee because we always like to do that on Mondays.
Susan Slattery.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have clients out there and they're trying to save money, here's some coaching you can give them. If you skip a latte, a couple of lattes in Atlanta, after a few years, in 5-6 years, you're going to have money for a down payment, right? Problem with that is rates are going to be higher and so are home prices. So as opposed to using this strategy, let's go to the next slide and talk about strategy here. Pumpkin spice latte is coming out pretty soon. Go ahead and save for your down payment. But as opposed to doing that, let's go to the next slide. We'll talk about or take advantage of one of our down payment assistance programs. Drink your coffee, right? Enjoy your lattes and still buy a house today.
And get the lower rate.
And get a lower rate. Let us help your client get into a house today. If you're worried about scripting, if you help renters and you ask every renter out there, hey, did you know that you could buy a house with very little and none of your own money? Why don't you talk to my loan guy? That probably 1 out of 10 of every time you ask your client that question, 1 out of 10 of those people are going to buy a house. That's what the odds are. 1 out of 10 will actually buy and close on a house. So why not ask every one of them?
Sounds like farming an apartment complex.
Well, I was just about to say, so if you break into an apartment complex, which I've been known to here and there, let's say they've got 500 units. If I knock on all 500 doors, that's according to Mick, I'm going to close 5 deals. That's a pretty good afternoon.
Actually,
I would take it one step. I would take it
50 if you.
Well, I'll take it one step further. You actually have to talk to them.
Okay.
Right.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, you actually have to talk to them.
Well, just bring lattes with you. Everybody's going to open up the door if you got latte with you.
Exactly. I think I would probably do that. So the bottom line is, learn the script on how to introduce a down payment assistance program. I talked to a lot of agents that I would never do that. I don't deal with those type of clients. But guess what? Over half of the people that we talk to about down payment assistance, end up not realizing, you mean I can take money out of my 401k? Or I didn't realize that my mom or dad could give me a gift. So at least half the people that we start out with the conversation about down payment assistance never even take advantage of that program, but they end up buying a house.
Yeah, and I probably shouldn't say this. This will probably get me in a little bit of trouble here. But if you talk to people who are looking for rental properties, doesn't necessarily mean you have to work rental leads.
Right.
Just have a conversation with them. You
Exactly.
can't help everybody. You find the ones that haven't considered buying. And
No, and there's no trouble, Mike. You're at 100%. There's nothing wrong with selecting the demographic of client you want to sell.
Exactly.
all right, so let's talk about some co-branded flyers, especially going back to the LATTE flyer.
The LATTE. Let's talk about getting a down payment assistance program. You know, we've co-branded this in with Jane Doe. Jane actually is no longer an agent at West USA,
Yes.
So we'd love to.
We actually had to let her go. We had to actually sever her.
Yeah, too many Janes with the same name.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's a scenario. Let's put your picture there. Let's put your contact information there. Here's all of down payment assistance programs. In addition to that, we have a specialized flyer for each one of these down payment assistance programs. Some of these programs offer an extra 1% for first responders, for military personnel, for teachers. And we actually have a flyer specifically for each one of those situations. So if you're connected with a school, or you're connected with firefighters or police officers, and you can have a connection there, let's do a flyer for you that tells them that they get an extra 1%.
And I'm looking like a whole entire 4, 5, 6 week social media campaign. Every week, here's the down payment assistance program of the week.
Yeah, exactly. We have flyer for every one of those.
All right. So do we have a scratch and sniff version of this flyer?
Adam's working on it. So
All
I'd love
right.
to have you guys there. You know, come on out and have a party. We've been at Aioli Burger. They do a great burger. You're gonna get a hamburger. You're going to get a drink. You're going to get an event T-shirt. You know, for those of you that haven't been at our branch office, it's on Central. It's very easy to get to. We have a pool table. We have foosball. We have Connect Four. Rumor has it there's always an occasional beer in the fridge, but we have a lot of fun there. Like to see you.
All right, and also important to note, this will be our America's Burger Club outing as well. So we're going to take advantage of the Aioli food truck there, the Aioli burger truck. I don't want to just call it a food truck because these guys have won awards. These guys are the real deal. So this is a real burger, and I'm pretty dang excited about seeing Tommy and the gang and eating some burgers. So it's $15.
That's a good deal too. When we went to Aioli Burger, I think I spent close to $15 on my hamburger, French fries, and iced tea or whatever I had that day.
All right, so we're going to start posting some stuff on the America's Burger Club page. Also, you can go to bookspanbaker.com/cheeseburger and get signed up for it. So looking forward to seeing everybody there. All right, Mick, tell us about the Bookspan Baker team difference.
I like to come back to the one where we're talking about 24/7 access to pre-qualification forms. Your agents love those. We simply put a link in the system. They log into it, and they can print up a pre-qual to match any offer they want to make. So we can pre-qual somebody up to $400,000. They want to make an offer at $380,000. That pre-qual can say $380,000. And if you negotiate back and forth, you can adjust that pre-qual to match your counter offers every step of the way.
All right, perfect. And The Rock texted in. He wanted to know if we let Jane's husband, John, go as well. So he's out here as well.
He's gone too.
All right, Mick, appreciate
Thank
it
you guys.
as always. Outside of the Burger Club being September 18th, we just got one announcement. There it is. All right. So this is open for all of our agents from all offices. Your opportunity to come on up here to the North Phoenix office and hang out with Scott Drucker, one of the, basically one of the smartest guys there is on the face of the planet when it comes down to broker issues, legal issues. This is where we go when our brokers don't even know where to go.
Yep. Actually, it's where they go.
Yeah. All right. So join us Wednesday, August 28th, this Wednesday at 10 a.m. Feel free to drop on by. And I'm hoping that Tony has the omelet bar ready to rock and roll. Nick, are we going to make that happen, the omelet bar? He doesn't have a microphone. So he said yes.
That's why you asked him that
Always
question.
have the microphone because you just said yes. All right. So we talk a lot about I've spent a lot of time over the last 12 to 18 months really assessing and examining, as agents. Okay, I get some of us just want to close our first deal. But there's a lot of us that are in that 5 to 12 deals a year range, and so we spend a lot of time of assessing, what are our top producers are doing, and we pretty much find what our top producers are doing, though there's different variations of how they do it. In essence, they're focusing on pretty much the same stuff. So for me, I'm really getting to this point. It's all about our systems. Todd, when you take a look at major corporations, major airlines, Southwest Airlines, or go to an Intel or Motorola, or this weekend, I took my kids. We were down at the at Scottsdale Fashion Square, and we went to Fired Pie. We got one of those pies. They all have their systems. Okay, nobody's surprised. Nobody's caught off guard. Every person gets treated the same. No money gets left on the table. No one falls through the cracks unless they deviate from the systems. Mm-hmm. And for us as real estate agents, we don't really have a lot of our systems in place. So what I did is I identified 5 systems that are holding us back from doubling their business. But I came across this quote by Thomas Edison. I think Bob knows him or did. But being busy does not always mean real work. The object of all work is production or accomplishment, and to either of these ends, there must be forethought, system, planning, intelligence, and honest purpose, as well as perspiration. Seeming to do is not doing. And I love this. And basically, we're all busy. We're all doing stuff. But are we really doing stuff that's helping us make money? Are we really doing the things and the activities that are helping us put food on the table? So let's just start. And I know this is not going to come as a shock. And in forewarning, we don't have time to tell people how to develop these systems as much as these are the 5 systems that you need to figure out and you need to sit down and examine in your business. And so the first one is your CRM. Real estate is about relationships, and there's nothing else. It's simply about relationships. A CRM system is not a replacement of your relationships. It's just a way to develop a systematic approach to ensuring that everyone gets treated the same and nobody slips through the cracks. So what I find, Todd, is I think a lot of agents, we buy a CRM system, we start working the CRM system, we go to a class, and it's overwhelming because our CRM system can do so many things. And I think in a lot of respects, it's causing paralysis. Mm-hmm. It's just too much. Right. We don't know what to do. So instead of letting your CRM tell you all that it can do, tell it what you need it to do. There you go. What are the things that you need your CRM system to do? For me, 3 things. Number 1, I need a place to be able to put all my notes. Everything that I learn about everybody, so that anytime I go on an appointment, I can call up a person's name and there's all the information. Number 2, what I need to do is I needed to set up alerts for me. So if I input information about you and Lynn, and you say, follow up with me in 3 weeks, I will never close out your profile until I set up an alert. So the system reminds me in 3 weeks to reach out to you. And instead of you have to go into it knowing what you need your CRM system to do, Todd.
Yeah, no, and I think that's very, very important. If you were going to read a book, a self-help book, or a book on maybe an autobiography, but there's something out there that you're trying to grasp, something that you're trying to learn, you don't necessarily have to read a whole book to get the primary things out of that book. In fact, you look at the table of contents and you look through it and you go, oh, wait a minute, this is the topic. So then you go just to that chapter. And I'm not saying that you couldn't go back and read the book, but when you have limited time because you are you just don't have all the time in the world. You've got to be focused. You got to be on purpose with your time. When you do that, that's the right way to approach a book that you're trying to, or a topic that you're trying to learn. So why would the CRM be any different? If there's certain things that you like to do, I love to make pop buys. I love to call my clients every 30 days. Whatever it may be, the things I don't like to do are these things that I need to automate, the minutia part of it. Well, then learn how to do those things specifically.
Yeah, and for instance, a lot of our CRM systems can do a tremendous amount when it comes down to social media. Well, if you've never used a CRM system, you might want to hold off and don't get overwhelmed about all the things that your CRM system could do with social media. You're probably not ready for it. Focus on the things that you needed to do and master it. And I put here, if you don't have a mastery of your CRM, you will leave money on the table. I guarantee it, because people are falling through the cracks.
And I would just like to say, you don't have to necessarily master the CRM. Once you have a CRM, what happens a lot of the times is that, agents, they research and they investigate and they trial and they play with a bunch of different CRM systems, and then they get really excited. They pick that one CRM, they have that one CRM, and then they have work to do. And unfortunately, they stop at that point and they say, well, I've got my CRM, but you don't ever use it again. You don't input your contacts. You don't take the stacks of paper off your desk and put them in, because that work is going to take away from other things in your business. You need to stop at that point, and you got to put in some work. Having a CRM is great, but if you're not going to use it, just barely putting in the contacts, it's a baby step. Yeah. So mastery is a great point, but baby step through the process. You don't have to know it all in a day, but get it to start working for you.
Yeah, and I think what I mean by mastery of the things that you want it to do, you have to know how to do it.
Right. Exactly.
You don't have to know everything about the CRM system. And back to my point, your CRM system is not a replacement of your relationships. Your CRM is like an assistant. If you've got an assistant, if you've got a receptionist, their job is not to build relationships with your clients. Their job is, when you show up to the office every day, here's a list of people that you need to call. Here's your reminders. Here's information about this person and that person. And that's really what the CRM system goes. Third thing that you might want your CRM system to be able to do is be able to send out email drip campaigns. They're pretty much, and then this is the other thing, Nick, where we get really paralyzed over, is we're like, okay, yeah, so I could do these drip campaigns. I don't necessarily want to use the drip campaigns that comes with the CRM system, so I'm going to buid my own.
But never
That never will.
So start with the templates.
Exactly.
And we've got a good one that we use, and we go to WestUSACRM.com, and it's Wise Agent. We're providing some training on that too, right?
Yeah, Wise Agent. Well, the reason why we went with Wise Agent is because there was those obstacles that we had to overcome. Every single realtor has the same ones. I just said it. You get your CRM and then you stop. What Wise Agent does is they will call you, a physical person, a human being will get on the phone with you within 24 hours of signing up with Wise Agent, and they will work on importing and exporting your contacts. So if you've got another CRM system, they'll export them out of there and import them into Wise Agent. They'll go through, with training, again, a real live person will show you how to set up the drip campaigns. And with Wise Agent, you get the text messages, and so you get unlimited text and video text, which is a pretty big deal.
Yes, it is.
All right, number two system that I think is holding agents back is developing a. We all know about having our sphere of influence, right? Yep. We all know about that. We all know that we're supposed to categorize our top 100 people into 3 categories. And some of us maybe have done that. Some of us haven't. Some of us haven't really gone that far down into the system yet. But when you've categorized them, and I want to start with your top 12, what system do you have in place to ensure that you are connecting with the top 12? So my wife and I, we were speaking over the weekend, and
that's a good thing.
Yeah, we were talking about we're talking about networking groups and so forth. And she came up with this idea. She goes, I don't even really like the term of building my network, because what I'm really trying to do is develop my community. And I'm like, man. Ooh. Because a network is really all about business, and it's give and take. A community is a group of people truly trying to help one another. So for me, I'm going to change my vernacular, and I learned that word over the weekend, so I'm pretty excited about that. So for calling it my network, to referring it to my community, because a true community takes care of one another. So for me, I've identified my top 12. Who are my top 12 people in my community that are most likely are in a position to be able to refer me business? And then what system am I going to roll out to let them know they've been identified? What system am I going to roll out to ensure that I know how I can help them? And if I have a way that I can help them, how am I going to ensure, going back to the CRM system, that I do help them? And you got to strategize how often and how you will connect with them. Maybe if your goal is to connect with them once a month, 1 month might be email, next month might be text, the third month might be a phone call, or whatever the case is. You have to have a system in place in which you're at least your top 12, you're in constant communication with, and you're constantly helping them. because if you help them, as we know, Todd, they will help you.
Yeah, you come from contribution. The whole point is that think about it. How many, $100,000, $300,000, $500,000 for a home? That's the largest purchase you're ever going to make. And typically, one person maybe buys a home once every 10 years or so. What business are the people in your database in? Everybody's looking for contacts. Everybody's looking for someone who knows someone who trusts and can vouch for the quality of the service that's performed. Do you know what everybody in your sphere of influence does? Do you know what the spouse or the best friend or the colleague or the significant other of the person that's in your database does? If you form a network, a community, if you would, of people in different businesses, and you let everybody else know with their permission what they do for business, if they're interested in receiving business, and then they do start to receive business, that's the best obligation in the world, because now all of a sudden you're feeding them. You're going to be top of mind, because every single time they get a lead from you or your website or your database, they're going to be going, oh man, Todd or Mike or Nick, they helped me again. They're going to become more obligated when they hear somebody in real estate to refer that person to you. So look at it even from that perspective. If you have a hard time asking for business, start giving business.
Yeah.
But you have to have a conversation with these people at some particular point, which is, listen, if I continue to refer people to you, would you be kind enough to refer people to me? You got to have that. You can't be a secret agent.
Yeah, and going back to this, some of the points in the system that you got to really dial in. So let's say somebody in your top 12 sends you a referral. Well, what do you do for that person that sends you the referral?
That's pretty special.
One of the ideas that we came up with months ago, so I forgot who gave me the idea, was then letting the person who sent you the referral, keep them posted during the home buying process, or keep them posted during the process, so they're part of the whole transaction of the person that they referred you to. And then when they close, you should be doing something really, really nice for them. But it's having a system. So every time you get a referral, boom, the system engages, and you're making sure that they're in constant communication and everybody gets treated the same. All right. Number 3. This is my favorite, because this is my personal favorite, because this is, I think, we're leaving all the money on the table, is after the close. It is not your client's job to remember you. I know that you think you've given exemplary service worthy of 100 referrals. Well, every agent thinks so. And maybe you are giving fantastic service. Well, it's a fact that our clients don't or will not necessarily remember us. It is not their job to remember. It's our job to ensure that we stay top of mind. So after your client closes, what system engages, or what set of protocols engage? For instance, how often are you going to follow up with them? And when you determine how often you're going to follow up with them, how are you going to follow up with them? Is it a rotation of a text, email, pop by, phone call, whatever the case is? For me personally, I think we should be in contact with everyone that we've closed on once a month for the first 12 months. Just to make sure that we're top of mind, because they will forget us. And I like to have a strategic closing gift, such as a closing event. I love the idea of a closing event where you get a chance to not only celebrate their purchase, but a chance to celebrate with their family and friends. And then once you close on them, then when we talk about your sphere of influence, determine where that person fits into your sphere of influence. They might already during this process have sent you a referral. Well, they might go into your top 12, or they might go into your Bs or in your Cs. Yeah,
I think we all want to be successful, and those that maybe haven't closed any business, haven't closed any sales yet, you're looking for your first one. But why don't you use the laws of probability to make it easier for you? Why do you just constantly keep changing? So here's a couple of quick statistics for you. To go find someone that you don't know and turn them into a client for every, or to find out whether they're even ready or interested in real estate, never mind able, is a 20-to-1 prophecy. So in other words, you've got to have a conversation about real estate with 20 people to discover one person who might be interested in buying sometime in the near future. I mean, the laws of averages, it could be any time, right? Just like a Zillow lead or a Realtor.com lead or a market leader lead, they're all the same. You have found them at some point of their transaction, but you don't know when. Is it the beginning? Is it like they're ready to move next month? But here's the transition. 20 to 1 is what that is. If you talk to these people after the close, the average person will come in contact with 5 people a year that are ready, willing, and able to purchase a house. Yeah, you heard all 3: ready, willing, and able. If you stay top of mind, which is what this is about today, if you stay top of mind with those people, you will change and transition from a 20 to 1 business to a 1 in 5 business. That means for every 1 person in your database, they should be willing to send you up to 5 referrals a year. And I don't know if you guys really know the stats, but 85% of referrals close. And these aren't made up numbers. These are NAR statistical numbers. But
I'm glad that you said that, because
Yeah.
our audience pretty much knows I make up numbers. So I'm glad that you preface that.
Well, I want to make sure that everybody understands that when typically when I bring up a statistic, I can show you exactly where that is. But it's a 20 to 1 for people you haven't met, but it's a 1 to 5 for the people that you have closed. It's just ridiculous. And so, Michael, to your point, number 3, go back and listen even to what they're talking about. 20 years ago, they were talking about agents not staying in touch with clients after the close. Guess what? In a world of consumer experience, we're still lagging in this regard. And these are the things we have to pick up, because if we don't, these discount brokerages and these other types of brokerages that you'll see pop up as disruptors in the future, they're the ones that are going to be top of mind. They're the ones, because if you can't validate the value of your service to me, the only thing left is money.
You know who's the most consistent company out there that stays in touch with me outside of Fuddruckers? And I want to just huge shout out to the Fuds out there, but Open Door.
Yeah.
They are, I mean, I don't know whether they realize it or not. We have a property out in Goodyear. I don't know, at some point, I did a little offer and wanted to see how it worked and so forth. They're constantly, I don't know if they know I'm an agent or not. They're constantly sending me mailers, constantly sending me emails about the update on my home's value and so forth. No one from Open Door's calling me. Yeah. So if I'm just the average consumer, a couple years of this, my wife and I are getting ready to go sell our house. Who's top of mind is Open Door. Yeah. Because here's what they're not telling me. They're not telling me they're trying to take my equity. Yeah. Right. They're just trying to tell me that they're going to sell my house or they're going to buy my house really quickly and give me cash. Right. What a great message. Yep. Who doesn't want cash?
In a day and age where everybody is complaining about online leads, they're spending money on Zillow and Realtor.com and just doing social media leads, and everyone says the same thing. The leads are crap. Well, okay, so take away doing online leads where the leads are crap and start investing time and energy and resources on building your community. I think that number 2 point is huge, and I think it's very much overlooked by a lot of realtors. Building that community, you're a business owner. You might not be able to give out sandwiches or coffee if you own a restaurant, but you have value to these businesses. Provide that value to them. Go and build your network, build your community. You don't have to just be working with industry partners. Think outside the box. Talk to people that can help benefit you, and you can help benefit them. My good friend just went to a party this last weekend for the person that bought them their house. We're not going to go down that road, but she bought the house or sold them the house 2 years ago. Now he's referred one other client to her. Her 40th birthday was a Saturday. He was invited. It was open bar. And most of the quote unquote friends that were there are past clients that have referred her business. That's a great way to stay in contact with your people.
Yeah, and don't get intimidated. I think this is going back to paralysis. Every single person, if we start building our community, every single person that we talk to knows agents. Yeah. And then we go, oh, well, they've got an agent, so I'm not going to talk to them. No, it's consistency. You can win them over. Yeah. Outside of their spouse or their favorite child.
Do you know there's actually fewer agents per homeowner today than there was in 1991?
Wow.
1991, there were 1.3 million people in Arizona and 37,000 licensees.
How about next week we'll just do Todd's wild facts?
Yeah. No, seriously. Seriously, you know, the whole point is knowing, you know, we live in this myth world that creates our own obstacle. We create our own obstacles, and we need to eliminate that.
All right. Well, Bob's going to bless us with his presence. He's got a can of Tab. When was the last time you've seen Tab? All right, number 4. Tab. Yeah, and Nick's so young, he doesn't know what Tab is. All right, number 4, system. If you don't know what Tab is, what
was that orange drink they drank on the space shuttle?
Tang.
Oh, Tang.
You know what that is.
Tang and Tab. All right. And so after you take a listing, most agents, they take a listing and they're simply throwing together a few open houses. Okay, are you simply throwing together a few open houses, or you've created a system to dominate the neighborhood? They are not just going to come to your open house, maybe a couple of them. You have to develop a system. I'm working with an agent right now. As a matter of fact, this afternoon we got a little think tank going on, a little skull session. We're going to talk about it. So he's got a listing. He's going to do a preview cocktail event for all the neighbors,
nice.
and get as many of the neighbors to come. This is their chance to see the property before it goes on the market. I've worked with a couple agents that have done this. Some of them have had 15, 20. One agent had 30 neighbors show up. So what strategy do you have in place? It pains me. I see this all the time. We have agents, producing agents, and they get a brand new listing, and we see it on our Facebook groups. Hey, I got a brand new listing. Anyone want to hold this open? Okay. I want to bang my head into the wall, because that is, you want to hold it open, but you want to have a strategy to invite the neighbors. And if you're giving up brand new listings, that means you don't have a system in place. This is a great opportunity, but you have to have a system in place. So when you take a listing, you can dominate the neighborhood.
We have a class actually at West USA. It's called Mastering the Open House. And we've taught it a few times in Mesa, a couple other places. And realistically, it goes through, again, a little bit of the minutia, so many things. But the reality is, if you're holding an open house and you're getting 3 to 5 people showing up to it, you're not doing all the things that you should be doing. If you're holding an open house and you're getting 15 to 20, 25 to 30, you're doing something right. If you're getting 30 to 50, you're mastering it for sure. So this goes through all the different techniques and the different types of things that you can do to be able to master that, selling the open house. But think about it from this perspective. Looky-loos, Debbie decorators, whatever you want to call, the other people, nosy neighbors, these people are all still future buyers. And if you have a hard time waking up in the morning as an agent and finding your next client, don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah. Yep. And if you have a good CRM, you can dump all of those in there and you can continue to touch on them.
Perfect.
All right. Yeah. So, and just figure out how you're, and like I was working with another agent, and he excited, he's got a new listing and got the postcards, just listed postcards going out that he had a title company put together. And there was nothing on this postcard as a consumer that would make me want to connect with this agent. There's and it's just a matter of thinking it through, examining what's on the postcard and so forth. And then at the very end of this, we're going to talk about what you do with all this information.
Well, we have services available that touch on a lot of these points. When you take an open house, as Mike said and Todd talked about, you have to have your systems. So when you take an open house, boom, what is the trigger there to do X, Y, and Z? West USA has connections with companies that do postcard farming. They do automated mailers when you pick up a listing or have a closing. You can do upload lists, and you can say, I'm doing an open house in this area. I want to select the 10 or 100 closest homes. It'll send postcards out on anything that you're trying to do. So look at what's being offered there, and don't just say, oh, because it's going to cost money, I'm going to get away from it. If you're putting time into it and it's not helpful for your business, you're wasting your money. Your hours are way more important and should be more expensive than having a company do 72-cent postcards for you that you can click a button. So there is stuff out there, and that's the thing that we get all the time is, well, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. We will show you how to do it. Reach out to us, ask the questions. What services do you provide for X, Y, and Z? And if we don't, we'll go out and find one.
And those are on the dash, aren't they?
Everything is on the dashboard.
Yep.
All right. Last one, and this will be Todd's favorite. Is time management.
Ooh.
Time management is a system. Time is the giant elephant in the room that we don't want to talk about. We don't want to discuss. We don't want to, because for the most part, the majority of us are very poor at time management. So you are either the master of your time or it is the master of you. Not having a boss doesn't mean it's a free-for-all. And
you just became your boss.
Yeah, you just became your boss, and a very lenient boss at that, right? And there's a difference when you going into you show up to work every day and you got to punch a time card and so forth. Your time is scheduled for you. You have your responsibilities. You have your things that you're supposed to do. You have a time that you're going to show up. You have a time when you can go. When you leave, you have a time when you go to lunch. You have a time for breaks and whatever the case is. But when we are our own boss, it does become a free-for-all. We don't have that accountability. Almost every activity you do during the day, and this is the one that's going to hit, it's hard for people. Almost every activity during the day should be helping you make money. What are the things? Journal. Start for the next 21 days, 28 days with a little journal book and write down everything that you do. And you'll be amazed on how much time that you wasted. But above all else, Todd, you have to time block every day for prospecting.
I'm going to challenge you and Mindy and all of us on this one. I'd like to change the word prospecting. I come up with a new word. This is the old fashioned how to win friends and influence people, right? So the fact is prospecting is a business term. It's a lead term. It's a term that says you're trying to turn somebody into something.
Okay, community building.
There you go.
There you go.
Community
Bam.
builder. Yeah. Because the thing is here is you have to look at, so you do, if you could block 2 hours or 3 hours is the standard every day. And when you block it, Mike, you and I know what we're talking about, but for our listeners, we're talking about you've told your family, you've told your spouse, you've told anybody who could possibly interrupt you during those 3 hours, leave me alone. This is my personal time to reach out and communicate with my future, past, and current clients, my friends, and you have conversations that are relationship building conversations. You might have a whole 10, 15-minute conversation, and the only thing it's about is little Johnny had a sniffly nose, and she hopes he gets, well soon. Or it could be somebody broke their leg. Whatever the story was, the topic was, you do that. And then you can follow up later with an email. Hey, Mike, it was great talking to you today. Thanks. And at the bottom of your email, it says, Mike Weinstein, West USA Realty Recon Team, blah, 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 And
you got to kill Facebook during this time.
Yeah,
you can't have it. And then if you got your computer open, you got to shut down emails.
Yep.
The only thing that you should be open, in my opinion, during this time is your CRM.
Absolutely.
So when I'm prospecting, I got my CRM because if I get off the phone with someone or I leave a message with someone, I immediately make that notation inside my CRM and set up an alert, and goes back to that alert to, when my next follow-up is going to be.
Yep.
All right. Well, this 5-pack's been brought to you by the word of the day, vernacular.
Four-syllable word.
So I end with this. I haven't given specific systems or strategies to specifically implement, mostly due to time restraints. Each one of these could be an hour lunch and learn.
Totally.
So my recommendation, these are 5 areas to consider, and brainstorm.
Yep.
Start with one at a time. Which one is the most important to you? And do a whiteboard, which, by the way, they are being delivered tomorrow. But do a whiteboard and start talking about research, Google time management, or if that's the system that you're going to do, or sphere of influence. If you're going to do the sphere of influence, first thing I would do is buy Michael Mayer's book, 7 Levels of Communication, and begin to build your system. And what will happen is you're like, well, what happens in this scenario? Well, that scenario will lead to a whole system. This scenario will lead to a whole system. Next thing you know, and it'll take you time, but next thing you know, you have a checklist. You have a book of checklists, and then get together with other agents. Get together with 3-4 other agents. Say, hey, how about once a week or once a month? Let's brainstorm on this, or talk to top producing agents. And if you got a top producing agent in your office, see if they're willing to go out to lunch or just have 15 minutes of their time and say, okay, what do you do for your top 12? How do you attack your day when it comes down to time management? What do you do for closing gifts? And begin to build these. This is an ongoing process. You will not have all the answers tomorrow on this. But if you begin to develop your strategies and your systems in place for these events, I guarantee you can and will double your income, because these are the things that are holding people back from doubling their business.
Mike, if anybody is out there that's having trouble with this and having difficulty setting these things up, would like some help, don't know where to go find help, have tried, been unsuccessful, let us know at webinar@westusa.com, and we will personally connect you with someone or people who can help you in those situations and help you along. Maybe even put a group together. But
if anyone listening to this can put together a group of 4 to 5 agents, we'll come down and we'll do some kind of think tank with them.
That's a great idea,
and so forth. All right, our upcoming segment is brought to you by Tab.
I don't think I've seen that can in a long
Bob,
time.
Nick over here has no idea what Tab is.
I know that, and I the lady at the front desk there says, "What's that?"
Lindsay.
Well, I haven't seen it for a while, but my son-in-law brought it over. He's helping me move, and it's from Coke, is what it is.
Oh, so he found it in one of your boxes from 30 years ago?
Yeah, it says right down here, produced 1967. No, just kidding.
Could be. I don't know. It's good
It's got a
stuff.
2019 logo on it.
I
Used to
can't
drink it.
tell you the last
Yeah.
time it was I had tab. Oh,
That's
my
awesome.
God.
And it's low
Yeah.
cal.
All right, Bob, help us stay. You're not here to talk about soda. This is not soda talk. This is staying out of trouble talk. Don't do that.
Oh yeah. You know, I'm on call this week, and I'm also moving, but I'm still on call, and I got so many things here that need to be addressed. It just goes on and on and on. It's simple little things, but it's not simple if you don't know the answer. So they call in and ask you things like this. One guy here, one of the first ones was, he says, the Binzer repairs were not done. We're ready to close. What shall I do now? Well, it's right there on your walkthrough, your final walkthrough, right down at the bottom. It has a cure notice. So you cure them on this. Well, if they don't get it done in the 3 days, what do you do then? You just hang in there and wait. Or does the buyer want to close now and worry about those repairs later? Not suggestible. I don't. I like to get this stuff out of the way so that it's not going to happen later. But you can do whatever the buyers and sellers want to do. Well, the seller needs to fix this stuff, but there is a cure notice right there on the bottom of the walkthrough inspection. So remember that. And a lot of agents call and ask me the same question. So, and this one, I don't know how you get into these things. I don't know. Here, one of the gals called me up. She says, I've got 4 deals that are connected with buyer contingency addendums. 4 of them, four people, 4 different firms. Everything's going on this thing, and now time has expired. What do you do? Well, you need to get it unexpired and try to get yourself a 10-day extension because you got 4 deals that are going to crash maybe. We need to get these put back together and see if we can get a 10-day extension. Talk to all brokers involved and see if they'll go along with this and get this thing cleared up. You got to be masterful at negotiating in these things and get it done. If 10 days will do it, let's get her done somehow. And you know, I don't get to hear what happened afterwards. Nobody ever calls me back and says, you know, this worked out for me. Nobody ever does
Yeah,
that.
don't know that we're asking people to do that either. Bob already gets enough phone calls.
Oh, man. And then the king of them all, and you can see right here, they're getting close to closing. It's going to close in 3 days. Well, can't we send the painters in to start painting?
Nope.
N-O-O-P. Nope. You're right. No, well, you know, if it does work out that way, have you got paperwork in place? And I don't believe you could ever get the proper paperwork in place that everything is good because there may be a problem. There's always something wrong. Just stay out of there till COE. Then it's your house. As a matter of fact, we just bought a house and my wife was wanting to pick up these little lights out in the yard, you know, pick them up, just pull them out because she hates those things. I said, no, don't touch these things till we get word that this thing is hammered. When it's hammered, then you can hammer those lights.
So hammered is defined as, for this purpose of the conversation, proof that the property's recorded.
That's what I mean. It's hammered. It's recorded.
Yeah. All right. Now we're all on the same page.
So some folks won't know what that means, I guess. I've been around too damn long, I guess. I don't know. But we want to get painters in there afterwards. And if you get the proper paperwork in place, will it be okay? Well, yeah, we think we've got pretty good paperwork to use. But it's never really okay. They can always find something in there somewhere, and you got to think about it later. But after it's closed, you don't have to think about anything. So that's a situation there. And then I got 3 of these over the weekend here.
How do you spell that? Ugh.
Oh, you just let me punch you in the stomach and you will find out how to spell it. It's called an upchuck. But I've got 3 of these deals here where people bought houses and the next day they wanted to cancel. And you know what they say to their agent? They say, I want you to get me out of this. Whoa. Wait a minute. The agent can't
We
get
don't
you
practice
out
law.
of it. You have agreed with a seller. That's the only one that can get you out of it is that seller. But let's take a look at the contract. There are ways that you might relieve yourself in here somewhere, but some people say we made a mistake. We don't want to buy this place. Well, you need to go do an inspection to make sure that you made that mistake and what was the problem. And this lady here said, well, the kitchen is way too small. They've thought it over overnight and they don't want it now. Okay. In the contract, it states in there that you can get out of this if you use your Binzer as part of your inspection, at the end of your inspection, that you can say you don't want it because of a certain reason. But you have to have a reason.
Valid reason.
So the kitchen is too small. That's matter of fact, the other party can't argue with it because it's sole discretion. They don't get to argue with it. The kitchen was big enough for me. What's wrong with you? You know, you saw the kitchen before you bought it, and all these yada yadas that go on afterwards. So anyway, 3 of them that way. You can get them canceled, but only if you inspect. Well, you don't need an inspector to inspect it. You can personally inspect it and see what the situation is. So we had 3 of them that had to get canceled that way over the weekend here. This gal called me up. She says there's been a death in the property. She says, do I have to tell them that? No. Matter of fact, it used to be that the seller didn't have to tell them that. Real estate agents had a problem though for many years because I know it. I gotta tell them because I know it. Well, then they adjusted the law so they included the real estate agent in there at a certain point many years ago. So now it's the owner and the agent don't have to disclose it. Yeah, the neighbors will, though, I suppose. I don't know. But this question comes up, and it's in the Spuds. It's on line 290. Take a look at it. Read what it says right in the Spuds. And somebody may disclose it. I suppose a lot of houses have had deaths in them, but some people won't live there consciously knowing there's been something happen in the house. So you have to work on that a little bit, and hopefully you can get through it. Oh, this one here. This has happened with us. I know one time it happened. But here's one where one of the agents has a listing and they got a very low offer, but no concessions, no seller concessions. That was good, so they accepted it. Then the agent calls up and says, oops, I forgot to mark in the seller concessions. I need 3% there. Well, no, you don't write it in there now. You can send an addendum over and say, we want 3%, and the seller can reject it. You can do that. But when you don't write it in there, sometimes I feel like that's time for you to write a check. These are contracts. They're made up pretty darn good, Todd. You know, we worked on these for many years and we got 10 pages of stuff there. My goodness. And there's little blanks in there. You have to insert something in there. You need to know this stuff. You need to attend contract classes. I think Michael puts on a darn good one there. It's only 3 hours. I think sometimes contract classes ought to go for 2 days, so you could really get you know, a lot of good stuff out of there. But and again, I don't know what happened to this. I hope she will call me. Of course, I could sit and call these people back, I guess, but here's one that says in the listing, it says this. You read that right there? It says chandelier does not convey, or chandelier, as some people call it. To me, it's a chandelier. It's not in the contract, however. So the agent says there was a chandelier doesn't convey, and the woman took it. Well, but it wasn't in the contract. I said she needs to bring it back because it's part of the place. It wasn't in the contract. It was in the MLS, but that doesn't mean anything for sure. It goes with the property unless it's deleted in the contract somehow.
Sounds like the listing agent has a commissionectomy.
No.
Well, that's what I told the agent. I said, you know, you may have to pop up a couple $100 to make this go away or whatever it is, but you need to do something here to make that buyer happy about the chandelier. So things happen. Oh, here's one of the gals selling her own home, and now she's about ready to close. She wants the inspection reports, and the buyer refuses to give the inspection reports. What do you do about that? Send a cure notice because it's in the contract. Oh, it is? Yeah. There's a page in there, and it's got it on it. 222, 223 are the numbers. And I had to look that up for her, but I found it for her. It's right there in the contract. I have to send a cure notice, and you should get this. Maybe not. You don't know what's going to go there. Many other things happening. Oh, somebody wants to talk about something that happened back in February, a closing. She waived the inspection report. Now she's got a problem. There's stuff that isn't working. Well, wait a minute. And you also waived it. You didn't want an agent. You wanted to represent yourself. Oh, I see. Very interesting. I will look into that, ma'am, and see what we can find out. And she was very happy that I would even talk to her about it. I don't know. It seems like it's an easy answer here, but I'm going to look through the paperwork and see what happens. And Terry's in there getting it for me right now so we can go.
All right, Bob. Appreciate it as always.
Are we done?
We are done.
Is that what it is?
We are done. Well, we're going to leave you with the quote of the day brought to you by Tang, the drink of the astronauts. Leave with the quote of the day from Winston Churchill. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Appreciate everybody joining us. Go out and sell a home.